Hello everybody, here we are today, maybe doing a little bit of an unpopular video as I talk about the Red Wings alternate jerseys in recent years, how they're boring. But anyway, before we get started with it, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So I know this will probably go out there and step on some toes, and that's alright. I am here to preach the good word, to speak the gospel, and to give my take about the Red Wings and their alternate jerseys. This all kind of stems from the fact that they just released this, which will be their alternate jersey, of course, for the game against Columbus at the Shoe. And right away, I'll say that that is probably the best alternate jersey that they've had in recent years. And they even have a nice little octopus design here that's going to be going onto the jersey that I thought was pretty neat. But the problem is, you look at this jersey and you don't think, wow. You just think, well, that meets the requirements. And that's basically what happened here. Is the guy that designed it said that this is really what it embodies to be Detroit, the minimalism, and that the owners and him kind of got onto this path. And I'm just thinking, what? What in the world? I get it. I think that the Red Wings at times are really stuck into a weird spot with being an Original Six team that is old, that's got a lot of tradition, that's got an iconic look, where they feel afraid to step out into the world and get a little bit crazy. But this is, again, just another opportunity missed for what could be a really fun thing to do with alternate jerseys. So, you know, out of the three, this is not the worst. The reverse retro jerseys that'll pop up here, and then I'll give it another second, and then here are prime examples of jerseys that look really, really bad. Those are ugly, they're boring, and they look like they take no effort at all. And my problem really lies with the fact that they are making fans have to buy this if they want to get an alternate jersey. Other teams killed reverse retro looks, Washington being one of those. Arizona, when they existed as Arizona, had some really good looks as well. But the Red Wings continue to go out there and just throw out hot garbage. And again, maybe this is more of ownership and them not wanting to do anything too crazy, as again, tradition and not looking too, foolish, I guess, in the future is something you could talk about, I guess. But I think it's kind of one of those deals where the alternate jerseys really give you the opportunity to step out of what's comfortable for you, out of that comfort zone, and really try to do something that is unique and make a jersey that might just kind of be for that time period, but you can look back and be excited. I don't know if you guys remember, there was, I think it was an All-Star game where the MLB ended up having kind of like weird, wacky, futuristic uniforms or something like that. And you look back at that and it's funny, but guess what? People would probably buy that stuff now because it is so outlandish. And I think that with these alternate jerseys, it doesn't even have to look bad, but you have so much you can go for here. You can really dive into the whole octopus thing and really go with a fun idea there. Or maybe do some colors you might tweak a little bit that aren't just that true red and white of Detroit, because this is where you get to go out and have a little bit of fun. But instead, it's another swing and a miss for the Red Wings, and I'll say, like we've already seen, people do seem to be liking these a little bit more, especially compared to the reverse retro jerseys. But I think at the end of the day, it's just that they are decent. They're all right. I mean, there's nothing too crazy about them, but they don't really make me say, wow. And that's what an alternate jersey should be. They're not totally alone in this. There were a lot of other teams that ended up having duds. I thought the Maple Leafs got really lazy when it came to the reverse retros, especially for one of them that was kind of ugly. And you're like, yeah, they designed that in about 5 minutes. And you kind of notice a trend with some of these Original Six sides where it's just like, whoa, we're diving back into history, and this is why it looks like this. Really? I mean, you couldn't have got creative like some other teams. Tampa Bay got really creative with one of their reverse retro jerseys. Is it ugly? Maybe. I don't know. I own it because I think it's unique. Whereas these just exist. They're there, they're here, they're kind of just wandering around. And people will probably buy them because, again, if you are a fan of a team, you will go out and probably spend some money on some things that aren't the norm and say, well, at the very least, even if I'm not a huge fan of it, I can say that I have it and I was able to get a certain amount of these jerseys. But where is the love and the passion? Minimalism is killing sports today. It is killing just artistic nature, and it is painful to see people hyping that jersey up as it is boring. I'm just going to say it's boring. And I know some of you might go out there and say, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. That is fine. That is your opinion. I may not have an idea. I don't have a degree in design or anything like that. Objectively, it doesn't look terrible. In 20 years, it'll age just fine, but it's not about aging in 20 years. It's about giving your brand something that you can say, that is a alternate for the Red Wings. If you see this, you're just going to say, Detroit jersey. Oh, okay. It's going to be a rando thing when people walk down the street that it's just like one of those things you can go into a store and buy something with the city name. Minimalism is part of Detroit. Are you aware of the history of some of the names and the players and the talent that they've had. And that's, again, what we're diving into. We're not stepping on the toes of what's been done before and the success that the Red Wings had, especially for a sustained period of time. We're talking about the design. I am sure that had they had better opportunities to go out there and do something, maybe more freedom from ownership, they really could have knocked this one out of the park, if you want to use a baseball term. But I just don't really know where to head here with things. I'm not as big into the NFL, but I know the Lions have kind of tweaked some things around with alternate uniforms and stuff like that. The Lions are an old team. You know, the Lions have been around for a very, very long time, but they're not afraid to kind of tweak things around a little bit. I don't understand the whole idea about, oh, original six team, we can't really get too crazy, because guess what? Being an original six team doesn't mean anything. There are other teams that existed before you. The Red Wings, I think, changed their name 3 times, as they were the Falcons and they were something else, maybe the Panthers or whatever. I don't really know, but if we're talking about history and we're going down that whole route, we're just, having a talk that's really not going anywhere. I'm not changing my opinion. You're not changing yours. And I still will stand here and tell you the same thing. There is not going to be a time that I will ever buy an alternate jersey that is Detroit's unless it is aesthetically pleasing. It's not, so I guess the only time I'll get it is if somebody gets it for me or if somebody gives it to me for free. Why am I doing this video? I don't know. Again, I could probably be talking about how some team's performing or how a player's having a sneaky good season, but I just couldn't do it anymore. I mean, I kind of made a couple of videos where I did the tier list for the reverse retros, and then this one came out again. I'm not even saying a team like Columbus is perfect. I think that at times their jerseys can kind of be a little stale, but with the alternate, at least they kind of played around with things a little bit. I know it's kind of weird how they'll use the cannon quite a bit, and then it's like, why don't you use the cannon as a primary logo since you guys are so in love with it? But it's a little different. But in Detroit's case, it is their city name in cursive. And boy, things got wild when they added that little itty-bitty patch of that octopus. Maybe I'm missing something here. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you feel like Detroit is putting out good alternate jerseys? They've had some ones for like Winter Classics. I think the 2014 one was a little bit different, and I still think that it looked decent. It was the cream one with the D on it, wasn't it? I don't remember. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Please don't get mad at me if you are a new Wings fan seeing this. I usually just stick to hockey and the fashion trends and whatnot, but I had to speak about it. So with that being said, everybody please make sure to stay safe. Have a great night. And you go hockey already. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.